Okay. No, go ahead.
Well, here I am having lunch with Christopher
Oops.
at Kentucky Fried Chicken. Believe me, it's very good. Very good.
There. Our first shot.
Now, can you cut that out and start again or what?
There you go.
I should have had my better wig on, you know.
Oh, you look fine.
My good wig.
Well, do you want to go put it on?
Hmm?
Do you want to put it on?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, here I am again. Chris wants me to carry on with it while he's running up to the library. I think I finished up before telling you that my brother had been killed and that we had gone down to Honington, the village of Honington. That's near Bury St. Edmunds. Oh, where am I? Oh yeah. It was a very impressive ceremony. 2 planes flew overhead and dipped their wings. And the people of the small village of Honington all attended the funeral. This was a practice they had begun right at the beginning of the war, and they carried on with it all during World War II. Wasn't that nice? It really was. The Honington churchyard is a lovely place. It was taken over by the military, and it still is a military cemetery. Last year, the girl he was engaged to, Lena Baxter now, visited Honington. She was in Bury St. Edmunds, and she took a cab, a taxi, from Bury St. Edmunds out to Honington, where she visited at the cemetery. For a while, it shattered our lives. Rob was such an outgoing person, well liked by everyone. He always said he could rise to the heights or sink to the depths. A smart, clever young man, struck down in the prime of his life. 24 years of age. But life went on. 4 months after that, the man I was engaged to was lost at sea. He was in the Navy, a petty officer in the Fleet Air Arm. He went down on the Ark Royal, one of our big aircraft carriers. That was another tragedy. Oh, what a tragedy. It was though the end of the world had come. 2 deaths of 2 loved ones, and so close together. But life still went on. We still had the sisters with us, the nuns, and they were a great comfort at this time. The Mother Superior, who stayed at the convent in Manchester, in fact, she had not been out of the convent for 30 years. She had not been out of the convent. She was 82 years of age. She came to visit us at this time, and she was accompanied by the Archbishop of Manchester. They did lighten our burden and brought solace and comfort to us. When the news came about Rob, our house was like a shrine. People we didn't even know arrived from all around the area, bringing food and everything they thought would help us. Colin, the boy I was engaged to, Colin's mother, had come over to spend a few days with us. She was a widow, and Colin was her only son. It was a very hard time for us all. She turned quite sick after that and died about 6 months later. I'm sure she died of a broken heart. I remember when she arrived at our house, she had an armful of yellow roses. Colin always sent them to her on her birthday. And so the Sisters of Loretto stayed with us for 2 years. Then the word came. They were to return to the convent, to return to Manchester. Most of the children were being returned to their parents, and the war had settled into a pattern. It was London, the south of England, and the east coast that was receiving the worst of the bombing. We were on the west coast and on the Irish Sea, and we had settled down to a life of rationing and hardship. But you were just so glad to be alive that you didn't complain. Food was in short supply. And of course now we didn't have the sisters, and we didn't have the benefit of their ration books. We were not forgotten by the tradesfolks who had helped us out when the nuns lived with us. This lasted for about 2 weeks. Then the police arrived again. This time with an RAF, Royal Air Force, billeting officer. And they announced that 10 RAF troops would be billeted with us. They would stay with us for a 2-month basic training, and then they would be replaced by another batch of 10. What a difference. 10 quiet nuns to 10 noisy airmen. As each new batch of airmen arrived, my mother would gather them together, line them up, and lay down her rules. For we had some terrible stories, and we heard of some terrible happenings in some of the billets. There was no arguing. She'd put her hands on her hips. Oh no, that was after. There was no arguing about politics in her house. No arguing about religion. No drinking. If you came in drunk, she called the MPs. And, she says, when I put my hands on my hips, I'm mad. But she stuck to those rules, and we never had any trouble with any of the airmen that passed through our hands. And we had a lot. 10 new ones every 2 months. We'd a few hundred. And so we settled down in Blackpool for the duration of World War II. In Edinburgh, I had been a hiker, a climber. I was a member of the Scottish Mountaineering Club, with its headquarters at Ben Nevis, the tallest mountain in Scotland, over 3,000 feet high. And I have climbed that. I still have my Scottish Mountaineer Club badge, all those years ago. I've spent many happy days rock climbing and mountaineering on Scotland's many peaks. Then we would bed down at the various hostels that are scattered around the area. When we were hiking and climbing, we would walk 20 miles a day when we were not climbing. And we enjoyed it immensely. You kept up a steady pace, and it was no problem. A good rhythm. So when I got to Blackpool, I looked up the nearest hiking club and found there was a CHA club right here in Blackpool. Cooperative Hiking Association. I joined up. And at the weekends we'd take off for the Lake District, which was only about an hour away. And there we would hike and climb. Come down screes, wade through burns, though the English call them streams. In the midst of war, we learn to enjoy ourselves in simple ways and to take each day as it came. There was such a comradeship during those years. Everyone helped each other. If you saw a queue, a line-up, outside a shop, you joined it. You had no idea what they were queuing for, but it just might be something that you could use. I remember lining up for something outside the fruit shop, and as we were standing there patiently waiting, a woman comes out of the store. She held up a banana and she shouted, "One bloody banana, girls, one bloody banana." And everyone laughed. It was so funny. I can remember it so well. But we carried on waiting and we got our one bloody banana. Even that was a treat.